we are going to do a drummer's call. This signal was used to call regiments' field music together for the reveille. So if you would, Jamal, let's hear a little of the drummer's call. Okay, a regiment usually contained 10 companies. Each company was permitted to have 2 field musicians, usually 1 drummer and 1 fifer. The role of these field musicians was to relay commands throughout the day as well as play for parades and other military ceremonies. One very important call, even though they had calls like breakfast call and fatigue call and surgeon's call and dinner call, the very important one was the assembly call. And all of our young men are going to be here to do the assembly call. Can we have it? Let's do the assembly call. Ready? Okay. Beautiful. The primary instrument, of course, is the snare drum, or field drum as it is called. And we're going to ask Javon to come out and demonstrate the drum to us. The drum is made from all natural parts. The shell is made from ash. That's a wood. Okay, made from ash. And the hoops are made of maple and painted red. The heads are of calf skin or goat skin. The top head is called the batter head. The top, the batter head. Give it a strike if you would, Jamal. That's the batter head. Because that's the side you play on. The bottom head is called the snare head. And why is it called the snare head? It's because it has what Jamal is pointing to there. It has the snares, and these are gut snares that are stretched for the length of the bottom head. Then tension is placed on the heads by drawing down leather ears or fasteners, which are on the side of the drum. And Jamal's going to point those out to you. And you can tighten the drum or loosen the drum head by maneuvering the adjustment straps, the tension. Okay. After the tension, this gave the drummer a nice tight playing surface. The last component that held the drum together was about 40 feet of hemp cordage or rope. And you can see all the rope, and I know that Patrick spends a lot of time wiring the drums, as I call them, or certainly drawing the strings through. Drummers at this time were expected to be proficient in all the rudiments. These combinations of rhythms are much like scales that wind instruments would learn today. The rudiments were the foundation of all the drum music played in the 19th century, which would have been during the Civil War, 1861, 1865. The first of these rudiments is known as the long roll. The long roll was beaten to alert drummers of an attack by an enemy and to form up in line of battle. So remember, all of the troops in the Union Army would get their commands, and if they heard this command, they would then know that they are getting ready for a battle. It was alerting soldiers of an attack. Can we hear an example of the long roll? Notice that every hand hits the drum twice. Every stick hits the drum head twice. All right, isn't that cool? Absolutely cool. Now don't forget, all Africans were in segregated units, and there is a training ground, or was a training ground, north of Philadelphia called Camp William Penn, where all black soldiers were trained. So even though they trained independently, they fought in so many wars, and we can be so proud of them, and I want our young men here to be very, very proud. But all the music that they did play, even though they weren't with the white units, most of it was written by a fellow by the name of George B. Bruce or Dan D. Emmett. It's called The Drummers and Fifers Guide. And they wrote this particular tune, which all of our young men are going to play. And this was one that was called Quick Step. It was not uncommon to hear a quick step being played as a regiment passed through town. So they would be marching when they would hear this. And by the way, in 1863, black soldiers did march from Camp William Penn into downtown Philadelphia. And they would not give them guns because they were afraid of black men having guns. And they actually were led by a white officer who was the only one that carried a gun into downtown Philadelphia. So, if we can, let's hear Quick Step number 1. Are we ready? Quick Step number 1. Listen to this. This will thrill you. All right, is that cool? The next quick step we will play is in 6/8 time. In the Drummers and Fifers Guide, it is known only as quick step number 4. 6/8 time has an almost slower feel, yet it still keeps the same tempo as our previous quick step. This style of drum beat would go along well with the tune by Gary Owen. We don't know who he is, but he was responsible also for the writing of that music. Wonderful, wonderful. Let's give our boys a big round of applause. Remember, they are reenacting the black musicians that did indeed play during the time of the Civil War. Let me introduce all of our young men. Javon Jones, raise your hand. Give him a big round of applause. Larry Anderson, where are you, Larry? Larry Anderson, raise your hand. Our bass drummer. Marshall Anderson, where are you, Marshall? Robert Kirksey, Robert. Very good, sir. That's Robert Kirksey Jr. Kamal Clark, where are you, Kamal? Kamal is just starting with us, but he's training right now. He's going to be an excellent, excellent drummer. So we appreciate all of our drummers, and it's always good to see black men who are really progressing and doing something that makes me feel good that we can get together and do this. Thank you all very much. We love you, and again we want to thank Senator Fontana and everyone at Soldiers and Sailors for making this possible. Bye-bye.